Halo has had its fair share of ups and downs, but when Microsoft's legendary franchise has been good, which isn't an uncommon occurrence, it's been the absolute best at what it does. That, of course, means that over the past 20 years, the series has showered players with many unforgettable moments that instantly burn themselves into our memories. Here, we're going to be talking about a few such moments that have stood out to us the most. Given the sheer embarrassment of riches here, we're obviously going to have to pick and choose and leave some stuff out. So if any omission stands out to you, sound off in the comments below. Warning, there are spoilers ahead for all Halo games. Stepping out on the ring for the first time, Halo Combat Evolved. It makes sense to start with this one. For millions of people out there, this is the moment that defines Halo, and it's easy to see even now why this is such an iconic moment. After fighting your way through mazy corridors and cramped rooms aboard the Pillar of Autumn in Combat Evolved's first mission, you then crash land on the mysterious Halo Ring. And that moment, when you first step out of the escape pod and lay your eyes on the majestic and alien beauty of the landscape and the ring that curves into the horizon in the distance, that's a magical moment that'll never be topped. ARBITER Halo 2. The Master Chief instantly became a gaming icon when Halo Combat Evolved first launched, and obviously, people were excited to step back into his armored shoes in Halo 2. He wasn't the only star of the show in the sequel though, and the Arbiter shared that spotlight with him as the game's second playable protagonist. Being able to play as the Arbiter was a huge moment in Halo 2 when that perspective switch first happened, not just because you realized you'll be wielding an energy sword at some point, but also because of all the narrative and storytelling implications that had. Wake Me When You Need Me, Halo 3.
I miss you.
Wake me when you need me.
It's not easy to conclude a story as rapturously successful as Halo, but Bungie tied off the arc with great aplomb in Halo 3. It was a joyride from start to finish, with a story that satisfactorily concluded that arc of the series, while, of course, leaving the door open for future stories to be told. And really, in those final few minutes of the game, were perfect in how they did that. Master Chief getting into his cryotube and telling Cortana to wake him when she needed him was the perfect way to cap off that sequence. Cortana's Sacrifice, Halo 4. Halo 4 was a big moment for the series, as the first Halo game not to be developed by Bungie, and while it certainly wasn't as successful as it should have been in a number of ways, there were some areas where it absolutely floored series fans. The way it developed the characters of Master Chief and Cortana, for instance, was a highlight of the experience, and watching their relationship grow was an integral part of the story. Seeing it all culminate in what at the time was framed as Cortana's big sacrifice and eventual death was truly shocking. And that scene where the two of them had their final conversation before that happened was a gut-wrenching one. In retrospect, the whole mess of a situation surrounding Cortana in Halo 5 kind of cheapens that moment, but at the time, it hit really hard. The KRAKEN, Halo 5 Guardians. Halo 5 Guardians has plenty of critics and detractors out there, and honestly, the many criticisms that get leveled at the game are not without merit. It's not like the game had no redeeming qualities, though. The campaign, for instance, had some truly incredible sequences, chief among them being the fight against the KRAKEN. The sheer scale of the fight and the adrenaline-fueled design of that encounter made for one of the best and most thrilling combat set pieces in Halo history. The Flood Awakens, Halo Combat Evolved. Halo Combat Evolved does something that the series hasn't done a whole lot of since. It turns into a horror game every now and again. Halfway through the campaign, one particular mission sees the introduction of the Flood, and that's an absolutely terrific section of the game. UNSC Marines have no idea what's going on. The Covenant are scared out of their wits about something you can't quite figure out. You're in a creepy and atmospheric forest, and then all of a sudden, you encounter this strange, mysterious enemy that you don't know what to make of. That constant feeling of dread and fear that Halo Combat Evolved created in those moments really left a lasting impression. Giving the Covenant back their bomb, Halo 2.
Sir, permission to leave the station.
For what purpose, Master Chief?
To give the Covenant back their bomb.
Permission granted.
Of course, Halo's always been full of moments of pure badassery, and this moment right here is the flag bearer for that group. The Master Chief grabs onto a massive bomb that's counting down to 0, grabs onto it and throws it off a ship, flies through enemy space, crashes the bomb into a huge Covenant vessel to completely obliterate it, and flies back to safety. And while he's doing all that, you're just sitting there and staring at your screen with your mouth hanging open. It's a moment that every Halo fan will always remember, made even better in Halo 2 Anniversary thanks to its spectacular new cutscenes. Final Warthog run, Halo 3. Frantic Warthog runs and Halo endings are a truly iconic duo, and appropriately enough for the game that concluded the series' first arc, the final Warthog run in Halo 3 as the game approaches its final moments is perhaps one of the most intense and memorable sequences in the entire series. Driving the iconic vehicle at breakneck speeds while everything crumbles around you and the ground beneath you literally falls away, how can something like that not be enjoyable? Exploring New Mombasa, Halo 3 ODST. This isn't a single moment, so we're cheating a little bit here, but it's still worth talking about. Halo 3 ODST is the definition of an underrated gem, and it focuses on quiet exploration in a single city environment is one of many things that set it apart from anything else Halo has ever done. Being able to explore New Mombasa and soak in its environments was a highlight of the experience in an already excellent game. Flying the Pelican, Halo 4.
Contact. Didact dead ahead.
How do we get inside those shields?
Marking 2 of the larger facilities on your HUD.
Vehicular combat is a crucial part of any Halo experience, and while the franchise had no shortage of fan favorites in that department in its early years, one iconic one that players always wanted to control but never got the chance to was the Pelican. Halo 4's campaign finally changed that. Being able to fly and control a Pelican yourself isn't something that would be noteworthy in basically any other game, but for longtime Halo fans, it was an unforgettable moment. 343 Guilty Spark's Betrayal, Halo Combat Evolved. 343 Guilty Spark remains that one Halo character that series fans love to hate more than any other. Well, perhaps other than Locke. And the moment where that hate originates from will forever be seared into our brains. The introduction of the Flood is still very fresh when this happens in Combat Evolved, but the entire sequence where you learn about the true nature of the Halo ring and the 343 Guilty Spark's actual motivations remains a classic to this day. Paths Converge, Halo 2. From the get-go, once you realize that Halo 2's story is going to be equally split between Master Chief and the Arbiter, you just knew that there would be a crossing of paths where their stories would converge. And the more things heat up, and the more the game develops their character, the more expectations for that moment continues to build. The scene in Halo 2 where the Chief and the Arbiter finally do meet lives up to those expectations. Watching the two characters interact and quickly come to an understanding to form an uneasy alliance against a common foe is fascinating, made all the more interesting by the fact that this is also the scene where the Gravemind is first introduced. Johnson's death, Halo 3.
I'm getting you out of here.
No, you're not. No, don't let her go. Don't.
Avery Johnson was a major character in the Halo games during the Bungie years, and as crucial as he was as Master Chief's ally throughout the trilogy, it wasn't surprising at all that by the time Halo 3 came around, he became a fan favorite. His death in the trilogy's conclusions was made all more heartbreaking by that fact, in fact. True to his character, though, Johnson went down kicking and fighting, and it's a death scene that Halo fans won't be forgetting about anytime soon. Survive Halo Reach.
This is the Pillar of Autumn. We're away. The package is with us.
Halo Reach is still one of the best Halo campaigns ever, if not flat out the best, period. But Out of all the memorable and breathtaking moments that define that experience, the one that fans will always remember is the very end. Noble Six's final stand against insurmountable odds and eventual death while the planet of Reach burns in the background was heart-wrenching and truly haunting, and will forever remain one of the best things Halo has ever done. Will the Spartan fight against an undefeatable foe right until the end, or give up and accept an untimely death? The fact that that depressing narrative element is baked right into the gameplay at that moment makes it all the more impactful. The cliffhanger, Halo 2. Sure, the only reason Halo 2's cliffhanger exists is because Bungie was forced to chop off an entire section of the game due to development constraints, and yes, at the time, there was no shortage of people who were more than a little mad about how the game ended. But one way or another, it was a moment that Halo fans will never forget. And honestly, in retrospect, it's a really good cliffhanger ending, all things considered, especially since those who experience it for the first time now no longer have to be worried about having to wait several years to see how the story plays out. So what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below, and if you like the video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.